Tony Daunt is the Executive Director of the Michigan Freedom Fund. His office is right across the street from the Capitol, and he is right on our airwaves right now. Welcome back to the program.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for having me.
A billion here, a billion there. Pretty soon you're talking about real money. What put this in context for us, if you will, the restoration of some of this funding?
Well, I would say that I think in many ways I've always viewed the legislature, it operates kind of like college students towards the end of the semester where, you've got, let's say, 6 months to work on a term paper and it's due and it's coming, but then you wait until the last minute anyways. But, I think it's a little different this time because the legislature, they did what they were supposed to do. They put together a budget, they passed it, they sent it to the governor, and then she vetoed it. She vetoed, line item vetoed around $1 billion of funding, and then used a little-known, I would say abused a little-known power with the state administrative board to shift, several $100 million into things that the legislature had not authorized the money for. And that's kind of where we've been for the last couple of months, once the kind of standoff began. And now, with that deadline looming of the end of the year and the Christmas holidays, we've got ourselves what appears to be a deal where the legislature's restored, agreed to restore some, and the governor to restore some $400 and some million, I believe the figure was. I could have that a little bit wrong. But it's all kind of incumbent on whether or not the governor will sign off on whatever agreement. I would assume there's an agreement on what the language will be to protect taxpayers from that abuse through the administrative board moving forward. So I think this is kind of go time this week to see what that final deal will look like. And I think the legislature, the leaders in particular, and their caucuses deserve a lot of credit for standing up to the governor, for standing firm, and not agreeing to go along with some of the ridiculous cuts that she made cynically and politically.
Pure Michigan, as I understand it, will not be restored. $37 million for that campaign that's been around since 2008. And now there was some money that was going to be taken, $375 million from the general fund toward road repairs, and that will remain vetoed, despite the fact that her campaign promise was to fix the damn roads.
Absolutely. And we pointed out several weeks ago with a little billboard campaign that that was exactly what had happened, that she had spent 18 months running for governor, talking about fixing the damn roads, and she wanted more money for the roads. And the legislature provided that. They provided it without raising taxes, without raising fees. They found it. They took it from all funds that already existed in the general fund, put it towards roads, and again, a cynical, politically motivated veto by the governor. And I think it's important people remember that, and we'll continue to make sure people know that that's what happened. And in terms of why it was left out, I think when you have a situation like we've had over the last few months where it's a pretty solid standoff, there's going to be give and take, and unfortunately that was something, additional funding for roads, that didn't make the cut. But on the flip side, I will say I'm not sad to see the pure Michigan funding go, because I think it's one of those things that everybody emotionally reacts, that must be wonderful. But it's government funding. We should be using it on things that have a proven track record of success. And I think putting that money towards priorities like roads and rural road patrols, things like that, is a better way to go.
One of the ways that you make sure people know is through the Front Lines of Freedom, which is published every week. If you go to MichiganFreedomFund.com, you can subscribe to that at no charge.
Yes, sir. It is free, although I will say we will always accept contributions, which you can do through our website as well.
MichiganFreedomFund.com. What's the latest on the legal wrangling concerning the Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission?
Well, that is, the last bit of movement that we had was, just prior to the Thanksgiving holiday, where, unfortunately our motion to have the lawsuit have a preliminary injunction, I guess, have that instituted. That was denied by the judge, And then we filed to move forward with an appeal at the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. And although we lost, it's still, the bottom line is some of the prohibitions on who can serve are unconstitutional. I remain committed to that. And I think that as we move forward with an appeal that we'll see the courts recognize that argument and hopefully be successful.
Fair is fair, after all, and that's what Tony Daunt is seeking with the Michigan Freedom Fund. Just 30 seconds left, but the headline of the latest Frontlines of Freedom is not mad, just disappointed.
Well, as we're growing up as kids, we all kind of hear that it's worse to have your parents be disappointed than mad. And we're disappointed with some of the folks within the legislature, Republicans in particular, pushing a legislative proposal that would really enable and make it easier for local communities to raise taxes. And that's not the way that we want to be going. It's not the direction we should be going. And so we're disappointed and maybe a little mad. So
check it out at MichiganFreedomFund.com.